Okay, so what if I told you there's a 700-year-old map out there? Not for some buried treasure, but for the most important journey any of us will ever take. The one inward. We're about to decode this timeless guide, a blueprint for finding a kind of deep inner peace that people have been searching for centuries.
Our journey kicks off with this really powerful idea from a medieval text, a locked door. Now, that's not about literally shutting yourself away from the world. It's a metaphor, right? It's about intentionally turning inward, cutting out all the noise and distractions so you can start doing the real work. But where does that work even begin?
And that's exactly what we're going to do here. We're going to translate this ancient map for our modern lives. We'll walk through all the stages, break down the symbols, and see what this incredible 700-year-old blueprint for the soul can teach us about our own search for meaning.
According to our map, the entire journey is really a quest for what the text calls pure love. But, and this is a big but, it's not something you can just decide to have one day. The very first step, it says, is to enter a very specific place.
This first stop is called the House of Self-Knowledge. And no, it's not a real building you can go visit. It's a state of mind. It's that moment you decide to take a really honest look at yourself, your flaws, your struggles, your imperfections, and you do it not with judgment, but with the goal of just understanding. That's where the real journey can start. So once you're inside this house, you're not just left defenseless. The text gives the soul a powerful tool. In fact, it calls it a weapon to deal with the challenges it finds there. And that weapon is prayer. I want you to forget any idea you have of prayer as just some passive, quiet request. In this map, prayer is framed as this active, dynamic force. It's the main tool the soul uses to fight its own internal battles. All the doubts, the fears, and the distractions that hold us back. The text puts it this way: prayer is a weapon seized with the hand of love on the arm of free will in the light of faith. This tells us it's not some mindless repetition. It needs three things. Love has to be your motivation. You have to use your free will to consciously do it. And you need faith to light the path.
All right, so if prayer is the weapon, then who's the adversary? Well, the text personifies all of our inner obstacles, our doubt, our confusion, our temptations. It calls all that stuff the devil. And this sets the stage for the journey's main event, the battle for the soul's attention.
And here's where it gets really interesting. On one side, the soul is pushing for love and truth. On the other, the devil is using tactics to throw it off course. And what's wild is how modern these tactics feel, right? Doubt and confusion sounds a whole lot like imposter syndrome. Boredom in prayer is basically the root of procrastination. And giving up the fight is that voice of anxiety telling you you're just not good enough. Get this. The text even lays out the attack in a three-step strategy. First, make the work feel totally boring and pointless. Then, introduce a bunch of mental noise. Confusion, conflict, distraction. And what's the final goal? To convince the soul to just put down its weapon and give up the whole quest. It's a timeless playbook for derailing personal growth, isn't it?
But the soul has an ultimate defense. The text uses the symbol of the blood of Christ. Now, it's so important to understand this isn't literal. It represents a total immersion in divine love and mercy, a force so powerful it can wash away any confusion or despair. This is the soul's ultimate source of strength. So how do you know if you're actually making progress? How do you know if you're winning this inner battle? Well, our map gives us some really clear signs, these tangible qualities that start to show up as the soul gets transformed.
And just think about how profound these signs are. A transformed soul doesn't fear suffering anymore. It might even start to see pain as a chance to grow. Can you imagine that shift? It develops this deep, enduring patience, not just waiting around, but a real calm when things get tough. It starts to see the good in other people more easily. And finally, it's filled with perseverance and fortitude, this quiet, unbreakable strength. These aren't just nice ideas. They're real, observable changes.
So where does all this lead? What's the final destination on this map? The text uses a breathtakingly beautiful metaphor for this ultimate state of inner peace. It calls it the Pacific Ocean. Just listen to how the text describes this arrival. The soul is bathed in that symbolic divine love we talked about, and finally finds itself in me, the Pacific Ocean. Wow! It's an image of total immersion, of becoming one with this infinite source of peace. So that's the destination, the Pacific Ocean. It's a metaphor for a state of being where the soul is so completely united with divine love that all the inner turmoil, all the storms of doubt and fear are finally calm. Just a vast,
endless peace.
And that's our journey through this incredible 700-year-old guide. It frames our inner life as this heroic quest, doesn't it? With a clear starting point, a central conflict, and a final peaceful destination. So the question it really leaves for us is, what can this ancient map of the soul teach us about navigating our own inner conflicts today?